Hello students, today we will discuss cerebral physiology and effects of anesthetic drugs on it. The adult human brain approximately 1315 grams. It represents about 2% of the total body weight. It receives 12 to 15% of the cardiac output. At the rest, brain consumes oxygen at an average rate of 3.5 ml per 100 gram brain tissue per minute. The whole oxygen consumption is 50 ml per minute, about 20% of the total body utilization. Approximately 60% of brain energy consumption is used to support electrophysiologic functions. The normal cerebral physiologic values are cerebral blood flow 45 to 55 ml per 100 gram per minute. Gray matter receives 75 to 80 ml per 100 gram per minute. Mostly white matter receives 20 ml per 100 gram per minute. The cerebral metabolic rate of oxygen is 3.3 to 5 ml per 100 gram per minute. Then cerebral vascular resistance is 1.5 to 2.1 millimeters of mercury per 100 gram per minute per ml. Cerebral venous partial pressure of oxygen is 32 to 44 millimeters of mercury. Cerebral venous SO2 is 55% to 70%. The intracranial pressure in supine position is about 8 to 12 millimeters of mercury. This is about the all normal cerebral physiologic values. Now we will see the chemical regulation of cerebral blood flow. There are several factors that is CMR, partial pressure of carbon dioxide, partial pressure of oxygen, causes alteration in cerebral biochemical environment that results in adjustment of cerebral blood flow. The chemical factors are cerebral metabolic rate, then partial pressure of carbon dioxide, partial pressure of oxygen, then vasoactive drugs, that is anesthetic drugs, vasodilators, vasopressors, then myogenic factors, that is autoregulation, mean arterial pressure, rheologic, that is blood viscosity, then neurogenic, that is extracranial sympathetic and parasympathetic pathways. These are the factors, they influence cerebral blood flow. The chemical regulation of cerebral blood flow, cerebral metabolic rate. The increased neuronal activity results in increased local brain metabolism, and this increases cerebral metabolic rate. This increase in cerebral metabolic rate is associated with increase in cerebral blood flow. The glutamate, which is released with increase in neuronal activity, this glutamate results in the synthesis and release of nitric oxide. The nitric oxide is potent cerebral vasodilator. It plays important role in coupling of flow and metabolism. The cerebral metabolic rate is influenced by several phenomena in the neurosurgical environment. It includes functional state of the nervous system, anesthetic gases and temperature. We will see one by one. Now functional state. The cerebral metabolic rate decreases during sleep. It increases during sensory stimulation, mental task, and or arousal of any cause. During epileptic activity, there is increase in cerebral metabolic rate, which whereas there is increase after brain injury. There is increase in cerebral metabolic rate after injury and globally with coma. Globally with coma, cerebral metabolic rate may be substantially reduced. Now we will see the anesthetic drugs. The effect of individual anesthetic drug on cerebral metabolic rate CMR. In general, anesthetic drugs suppress the cerebral metabolic rate with exception of ketamine and nitrous oxide. These are the exceptions. Other anesthetics including barbiturates, isoflurane, sevoflurane, desflurane, propofol and etomidate increasing plasma concentrations causes progressive suppression of EEG activity and there is reduction in cerebral metabolic rate. This is about the anesthetic drugs. Now we will see the effect of temperature. The effect of hypothermia on brain have been reviewed in detail. The cerebral metabolic rate decreases by 6 to 7% per degree Celsius of temperature reduction. That means after reduction in temperature there is reduction in cerebral metabolic rate. Hypothermia can cause complete suppression of EEG. This occurs at about 18 to 20 degrees centigrade. Then what is about hyperthermia? Hyperthermia has an opposite influence on the cerebral physiology. Between temperature of 37 degrees and 42 degrees centigrade, cerebral blood flow and cerebral metabolic rate increases. Above 42 degrees centigrade, there is a dramatic reduction in cerebral blood oxygen consumption that occurs. The toxic effect of hyperthermia that may occur as a result of protein denaturation. Why it occurs? Because of protein denaturation. Now we will see about the partial pressure of carbon dioxide. Cerebral blood flow varies directly with PaCO2. The effect is greatest within the range of physiological partial pressure of CO2 variation. This response is attenuated below PaCO2 value of 25 mmHg. The magnitude of reduction in cerebral blood flow is caused by hypocapnia is greater when resulting in cerebral blood flow is high. The changes in cerebral blood flow caused by PaCO2 are dependent on pH alterations in extracellular fluid of the brain. Nitric oxide, in particular nitric oxide of neuronal origin, is an important mediator of CO2 induced vasodilatation. The vasodilatory response to the hypercapnia is also mediated in part by prostaglandins. The changes in extracellular pH and cerebral blood flow occurs rapidly after PaCO2 adjustments because carbon dioxide diffuses freely across cerebrovascular endothelium. Despite maintenance of an elevated arterial pH cerebral blood flow returns to normal over a period of 6 to 8 hours. Why? Because the pH of the CSF gradually normalizes as a result of excretion of bicarbonate. This is the effect. Now we will see about the PaO2. The changes in PaO2 from 60 to greater than 300 mmHg have little influence on cerebral blood flow. Below PaO2 of 60 mmHg, cerebral blood flow increases rapidly. The mechanisms mediating cerebral vasodilatation during hypoxia are not fully understood but may include neurogenic effects initiated by peripheral and neuraxial chemoreceptors as well as humoral influences. Hypoxia induced hyperpolarization of vascular smooth muscles by opening of ATP dependent potassium channels also leads to vasodilatation. This is about PaO2. Now this is the graph. This shows changes in cerebral blood flow caused by independent alteration in PaCO2, PaO2, mean arterial pressure. On x-axis there is mm of Hg 0, 50, 100, 150, 200, PaO2, PaCO2 and mean arterial pressure. On y-axis there is cerebral blood flow in ml per 100 gram per minute. Yellow graph shows PaO2, then green shows PaCO2 and blue shows mean arterial pressure. Then myogenic regulation of cerebral blood flow. Autoregulation refers to the capacity of cerebral circulation to adjust its resistance to maintain cerebral blood flow constant over a wide range of mean arterial pressure. In normal human subjects, they are limited. It is consistent with the limits of autoregulation occurring at a mean arterial pressure values of approximately 70 to 150 millimeters of mercury. That autoregulation occurs between the values of 70 to 150. These are the values of mean arterial pressure. Lower limit of autoregulation has been widely quoted as mean arterial pressure of 50 mmHg. According to myogenic hypothesis, changes in cerebral perfusion pressure leads to direct changes in tone of vascular smooth muscles. This process appears to be passive. Nitric oxide may participate in vasodilatation associated with the hypotension. Now we will see the neurogenic regulation of we will see about the blood viscosity. The blood viscosity can influence the cerebral blood flow. Hematocrit is the single most important determinant of the blood viscosity. In healthy subjects, variation of hematocrit within normal range, that is 33% to 45%, results only in modest alteration in cerebral blood flow. That means values within 33 to 45% hematocrit, there is moderate alteration in the cerebral blood. Beyond this range, changes are more substantial. What happens in anemia? In anemia, cerebral vascular resistance is reduced and cerebral blood flow is increased. However, this may result only from reduction in viscosity, but also from reduced oxygen carrying capacity of the blood. The effect of reduction in viscosity on cerebral blood flow is more obvious in the settings of focal cerebral ischemia. The reduction in viscosity by hemodilution results in increase in cerebral blood flow in ischemic territory. In patients with focal cerebral ischemia, hematocrit of 30 to 34% will result in optimal delivery of the oxygen. This is about the effects of viscosity on cerebral blood flow. Now we will see the effects of vasoactive drugs. The systemic vasodilators, the majority of drugs used to induce hypotension. These include sodium nitroprusside, nitroglycerin, hydralazine, causes cerebral vasodilatation. As a result of vasodilation, cerebral blood flow either increases or maintained at a pre-hypotensive levels. Then the catecholamines and antagonist. The numerous drugs with agonist-antagonist activity at catecholamine receptors. They are alpha 1 receptor, alpha 2 beta receptors, beta and dopamine are in common use. The effect of these anesthetics on the cerebral physiology are depend on basal blood pressure and magnitude of systemic blood pressure changes. Now we will see about the alpha 1 agonist. Frequently encountered clinical concern is the administration of anesthetics with alpha 1 agonist effects. These alpha 1 agonists are phenylephrine and norepinephrine. They will lead to reduction in cerebral blood flow. The circulating alpha 1 agonist will have little direct effect on cerebral blood flow. Then beta agonist. In beta agonist, beta receptor agonists in low dose have little effect on cerebral vasculature. The cerebral vasculature. Then about the beta blockers. The beta blockers have variously reported to reduce or to have no effect on cerebral blood flow and cerebral metabolic rate. Then we will see about the alpha 2 agonist. The current interest of alpha 2 agonist because they have got analgesic and sedative effects. This class include alpha 2 agonists include dexmedetomidine and clonidine. The two investigations in human volunteers have confirmed that the ability of dexmedetomidine to reduce the cerebral blood flow. Dexmedetomidine dose dependently decreases middle cerebral artery flow velocity and the maximum reduction being approximately is 25%. That is the dexmedetomidine in dose of 1 microgram per kg loading dose and infusion dose 0.2 to 0.6 microgram per kg per hour decreases cerebral blood flow by 30% in healthy human volunteers. These indicate that effect of dexmedetomidine on cerebral blood flow are mediated primarily by ability to suppress cerebral metabolic rate. This chart shows the effect of catecholamine agonist on cerebral blood flow. Now agonist, pure agonist and mixed. In pure, that is alpha 1 agonist. Alpha 1 agonist 0 means there is no effect. Alpha 1 agonist effect on cerebral blood flow, there is no effect on cerebral blood flow, there is no effect on cerebral metabolic rate. Alpha 2 agonist decreases cerebral blood flow. Then there is no effect of alpha 2 agonist on cerebral metabolic rate. Then beta agonist on cerebral blood flow effective. There is increase in cerebral blood flow with beta agonist. Then we will see norepinephrine. Norepinephrine has got 0, that means no effect on cerebral blood flow, cerebral metabolic rate. Norepinephrine with open blood brain barrier, it causes increase in cerebral blood flow, cerebral metabolic rate. Epinephrine also increases cerebral blood flow and cerebral metabolic rate. Now we will see the effect of age. The aging from childhood to adulthood is associated with progressive reduction in cerebral blood flow and cerebral metabolic rate. Cerebral metabolic rate of oxygen. This may reflect the progressive neuronal loss. Why this occurs? This occurs because of progressive neuronal loss that occurs with age. Now we will see effect of anesthetic agents on cerebral blood flow. Now first we will see the intravenous anesthetic agents. The intravenous anesthetic. The general pattern of effect of intravenous anesthetic agent is of parallel alteration in cerebral metabolic rate and cerebral blood flow. Vast majority of intravenous anesthetic agent causes reduction in the both, that is cerebral metabolic rate and cerebral blood flow. Ketamine increases cerebral metabolic rate and cerebral blood flow. It is an exception. It is probably that the changes in cerebral blood flow is induced by intravenous anesthetic agents are largely because of the result of effect on cerebral metabolic rate with parallel coupled changes in cerebral blood flow. Now we will see about the barbiturates. Barbiturates causes dose dependent reduction in cerebral blood flow and cerebral metabolic rate. With the onset of anesthesia, cerebral blood flow, cerebral metabolic rate, CMRO2 are reduced by about 30%. When larger doses of thiopentone can cause complete EEG suppression, cerebral blood flow and cerebral metabolic rate are reduced about 50%. Now we will see about the propofol. The effects of propofol on cerebral blood flow and cerebral metabolic rate appear to be quite similar to that of barbiturates. There is substantial reduction in cerebral blood flow and cerebral metabolic rate after the administration of propofol. In healthy volunteers, propofol levels, surgical levels of propofol reduces regional cerebral blood flow by 53 to 79%. The whole brain metabolic rate decreased by 48 to 58%. This is about the propofol. Now we will see about the etomidate. The effect of etomidate on cerebral blood flow, cerebral metabolic rate are similar to those of barbiturates. They are parallel reduction in cerebral blood flow and there is a reduction in cerebral metabolic rate. Etomidates have been shown to effective in the reduction of intracranial pressure without causing reduction in cerebral perfusion pressure in patients with intracranial tumors and head injury. Then we will see about the benzodiazepines. The benzodiazepine cause parallel reduction in cerebral blood flow and cerebral metabolic rate. Cerebral blood flow, cerebral CMRO2 decreased by 25% when 15 mg of diazepam was given to head injury patients. Also, there is 30 to 34% reduction in cerebral blood flow after the administration of 0.15 mg per kg midazolam. Now, we will see about the ketamine. Ketamine is a unique. It has got ability to increase both cerebral blood flow and cerebral metabolic rate in humans have demonstrated that sub-anesthetic doses of ketamine, that is 0.2 to 0.3 mg per kg, can increase global cerebral metabolic rate by about 25%. The increase of cerebral metabolic rate occurred in frontal and anterior cingulated cortex. A relative reduction in cerebral metabolic rate in cerebellum was also observed. The S-ketamine enantiomer increases cerebral metabolic rate and R-enantiomer tends to decrease cerebral metabolic rate, particularly in temporomedial cortex in the cerebellum. This is about the ketamine. Now lignocaine. The lignocaine produces dose-dependent reduction in cerebral CMRO2. Effectiveness of bolus doses of thiopentone 3 mg per kg and lignocaine 1.5 mg per kg can be given in controlling acute increase in intracranial pressure. The bolus dose is reasonable adjunct to the prevention or treatment of acute elevation of intracranial pressure. Larger doses of lignocaine can produce seizures in humans. The lignocaine induced seizures have not been reported in anesthetized humans. It seems appropriate to restrict the lignocaine dose to amounts that achieve serum levels less than the seizure threshold. That is, seizure threshold, it is more than 5 to 10 microgram per ml in awake humans. After 2 mg per kg bolus, peak serum concentrations of 6.6 to 8.5 microgram per ml are achieved, and these are below the seizure threshold. Therefore, bolus doses of 1.5 to 2 mg per kg lignocaine is appropriate. This is about the lignocaine. Then about the inhaled anesthetic agents. The inhaled anesthetic agent cause parallel reduction in cerebral metabolic rate and cerebral blood flow. All the volatile anesthetic agents, similar to intravenous sedative hypnotic, suppresses the cerebral metabolism in dose dependent or dose related manner. Volatile anesthetic agents also possess intrinsic cerebral vasodilatory activity as a result of direct effect on vascular smooth muscle. The net effect of volatile anesthetic on cerebral blood flow is therefore a balance between the reduction in cerebral blood flow caused by CMR suppression, cerebral metabolic rate suppression, and augmentation of cerebral blood flow caused by direct cerebral vasodilation. When administered in dose of 0.5 mAh, cerebral metabolic rate suppression, induced reduction in cerebral blood flow predominates and net cerebral blood flow decreases in comparison to the awake state. At 1 mAh, cerebral blood flow remains unchanged. At a dose, cerebral metabolic rate suppression and vasodilatory effects are in balance. Beyond 1 mAh, the vasodilatory activity predominates and cerebral blood flow increases significantly, even though cerebral metabolic rate is substantially reduced. The increase in cerebral blood flow produced by volatile anesthetic agents at doses greater than 1 mAh have been interpreted as evidence of uncoupling of flow and metabolism. The order of vasodilating potency is approximately halothane has got more vasodilatory activity than enflurane, than desflurane. Desflurane is equal to isoflurane, and it is more than sevoflurane. This is about the inhaled anesthetics. Now effects on cerebral blood flow. Effects on cerebral blood flow. Volatile anesthetic possesses intrinsic vasodilatory activity, and they not only modify cerebral autoregulation but also produces dose dependent reduction in systemic blood pressure. More recent investigations have shown that sevoflurane, desflurane can significantly reduce cerebral blood flow in humans when compared with cerebral blood flow in awake non-anesthetized patients at 1 mAh concentration. Sevoflurane and desflurane decreases cerebral blood flow by 38% and 22% and cerebral metabolic rate by 39 to 35% respectively. This is about the effect on cerebral blood flow. Effect on cerebral metabolic rate. All volatile anesthetics cause reduction in cerebral metabolic rate. The degree of reduction in cerebral metabolic rate that occurs at a given MAC level is less with halothane than with other four anesthetic agents. Now we will see about the cerebral vasodilatation. The isoflurane, desflurane, sevoflurane have modest cerebral vasodilating effect in human cortex when administered at dose of 1 MAC. Now we will see about the effect of nitrous oxide on cerebral blood flow. The nitrous oxide can cause increase in cerebral blood flow, cerebral metabolic rate and intracranial pressure. At least a portion of the increase in cerebral blood flow, cerebral metabolic rate may have result of sympathoadrenal stimulating effect of nitrous oxide. Why cerebral blood flow, cerebral metabolic rate and ICP, intracranial pressure increases? It is the result of sympathoadrenal stimulating effect of nitrous oxide. When nitrous oxide is administered alone, there is very substantial increase in cerebral blood flow and intracranial pressure occurs. When nitrous oxide is administered in combination with IV inducing agents, that is barbiturates, benzodiazepines, narcotics and propofol, its cerebral vasodilating effect is attenuated or even completely inhibited. That is about the nitrous oxide. Now, therefore, the vasodilatory action of nitrous oxide can be clinically significant in neurosurgical patients with reduced intracranial compliance. It appears that nitrous oxide induced vasodilatation can be considerably blunted by simultaneous administration of intravenous anesthetic agents. Because nitrous oxide rapidly enters in closed gas space, it should be avoided or omitted when closed intracranial gas space may exist or intravascular air is a concern. Now we will see about the muscle relaxant, non-depolarizing muscle relaxant. The only recognized effect of non-depolarizing relaxant on the cerebral vasculature occurs via release of histamine. Histamine can cause reduction in cerebral perfusion pressure. Because of simultaneous increase in intracranial pressure caused by cerebral vasodilatation and decrease in mean arterial pressure. The histamine directly causes cerebral vasodilatation. Its secondary response to reduction in mean arterial pressure. Atracurium, mevacurium also results in histamine release. These anesthetics are administered in large doses necessary to achieve intubating conditions rapidly. Of this group of drugs, cisatracurium has the least histamine releasing effect. There is no evidence of histamine release seen with the administration of 0.15 mg per kg cisatracurium to a neurosurgical patients. Vecuronium in relatively large doses 0.1 to 0.14 mg per kg had no significant effect on cerebral physiology in patients with brain tumor. Then we will see about the metabolite of atracurium, laudanosine, may be epilepticogenic. The vecuronium, pancuronium, rocuronium, atracurium, cisatracurium and pancuronium, if acute mean arterial pressure increase, are prevented when after giving pancuronium are all reasonable muscle relaxants for use in patients with or at risk of intracranial hypertension. Then we will see about the succinylcholine. The succinylcholine can produce modest increase, that is 5 mmHg in intracranial pressure in lightly anesthetized human beings. This effect appears to be the result of cerebral activation. It is caused by afferent activity from muscle spindle apparatus. Deep anesthesia has been observed to prevent succinylcholine induced increase in intracranial pressure. In humans, the increase in intracranial pressure is also blocked by paralysis with vecuronium and by defasciculating or defasciculation with metpurine 0.03 mg per kg. Succinylcholine can produce increase in intracranial pressure. It needs to be viewed as a contraindication and in circumstances in which its use for rapid attainment of paralysis is otherwise seen appropriate. This is about the succinylcholine. Thanks.